Hey everybody, welcome to a new episode of Ready 2000 Podcast. I'm here with Joe. What's up, Joe?
What's going on, everybody?
Certain video game TV show just recently came out later this weekend. This week. I'm gonna let Joe take this away. Take this one because
Oh my
this
god. It's
this isn't saying that
man,
everything made for you.
yeah, this is it's crazy. I knew it was gonna be good, but I had no idea it was gonna be like Fallout. And that's like the ultimate compliment you can give it is that while I was watching it, like it was just everything I ever wanted. My introduction to Fallout was Fallout 3. And I've played every Fallout since. And when this was coming out, they were showing pictures of the set photos, and Jonathan Nolan is directing it, and all this like really good news. Then the trailer hits, and I'm like stupid hyped. And finally, the day comes. They release it a day early. Like that was the moment I was like, oh my god, they're confident in it. Todd Howard comes on. This is officially, well, I don't know if he says officially, but he equates it to Fallout 5. And watching all 8 episodes, all I can say is they motherfucking nailed it. Nailed it. Everything about this show. I've watched it twice now. I've watched
Wow.
all 8 episodes twice.
It's 8 hours.
Yeah, I don't know what to say except thank you for making this. Thank you. I really enjoyed it. I am so fucking happy that people that like the thing that I love, I can show to somebody who's never played a video game and be like, this is what I loved. And not loved, but this is what I love about this franchise. It gets it.
It was such a faithful like
Adaptation,
of the
exactly.
of the source material that you're like,
Exactly.
I
But
I
I'm
think
fascinated. Yeah,
you're
I'm
right.
fascinated to hear your perspective because your perspective, you've never played Fallout,
Mhm.
but you have outside knowledge
Yeah,
of
I
like what
backseat
it
gamed
is.
a lot of it because I've seen like
Yeah.
I know of it. I never played those games. And no offense, those games look incredible and are incredible, but I thought it was incredible. This Fallout show really good. I actually really enjoyed it. I'm actually having a hard time finding some like mistakes in it that I'm like, oh, I didn't like this or like it, dude. Like everything I think is done like perfectly. The casting, the set design, the costume design, even the CGI looks great. Characters arcs, everything. Like man, they nailed everything. The fan service of the game, so I'm like, it's not so in your face about it. It's just stuff you like notice. Everything was done so perfectly. Where I was like, "Ah, this is great." The thing that kept me being like really enthralled while watching the show was like, it really is super compelling to watch every episode one after the other. I don't
Yes.
think I felt a very slow moment in the show. Maybe towards the end a little bit in Vault 4,
Yeah.
but it sets up more for, I think, the world of the Wasteland to be like, this can happen to you. And I bet I haven't played the games, but I bet it's something that players experience too, where you could just fucking wander into a vault. So I bet it works well for the show. But it really is compelling. Every episode after one after another, it ends perfectly. I'm so excited to see where it's gonna go next with these characters. Let's talk about the characters here. Let's go one by one after one.
Yeah,
We
but
have
I just want to say, like, it's exactly what you said. Like, I ran into a comment that said that every episode gets progressively better, and then the 8th episode is a fucking phenom. It's like you are so enthralled by that eighth episode. Like, if for some reason you're watching this and haven't watched it, like by the 8th episode, you are in. I'm not
yeah.
saying like you're in episode 1, but emotionally, you're so invested in 8. And yeah, let's get into the characters.
Oh man, like okay, let's start off with Lucy, main character.
Main character, I just want to say it's so cool to see her progression in this. And this is a spoiler talk. Like this is like 100% like
Oh
yeah.
yeah, yeah, good point.
Yeah, we're going straight into, the whole series. So, if you haven't watched it, get to it. But
If
yeah.
for the case of record, if anyone ever listens to any of our podcasts, just know that we're always gonna go with spoilers. We'll probably almost never have a non-spoiler kind of thing anyway. So
Yeah. So anyway, Lucy is just I don't know where they got this actress. I think her name is Ella. Um, she is so
Ella?
Purnell, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
She is fucking amazing. The Her eyes are so big and sincere and innocent that it brings this
Yeah.
naivety to the Fallout, the Vault Dwellers. Um, and she progressively gets badass throughout the series. I What a great. Sometimes I have a debate because initially going into this I was like, oh, it's gonna be the Ghoul. Like everyone's favorite character is gonna be the Ghoul, and because he's the badass. And I watched it a second time, and I'm like, dude, she is so captivating as the lead. Um, I'm with her. I'm 100% like her trek through. This is another thing. I know I keep going off in tangents, but this is so important. My origin story with Fallout. I didn't know what Fallout 3 was. I had a modded Xbox, so you can arrest me whenever you want. But I had a modded Xbox 360, and all my friends had burnt CDs of Fallout 3, and they are all like NBA 2K fans. You know what I'm saying? Like they play sports games. So they were like, "Joe, you want Fallout? Like we don't play this shit or whatever." And I'm like, "Yeah, sure, whatever. Just give me your games." And I had like fucking 3 or 4 CDs of Fallout 3. And so I just randomly put this game in with no context of what the game is. I literally played this Lucy. Like I had no idea what the story was. I'm in a vault and I'm talking to people and the doors open and I'm out in the wasteland. You know what I'm saying? My innocence is exactly robbed just like her innocence. I'm telling you, like the moment in the show where I honestly started crying. It was like seeing it like that. I cried because it was like seeing your son graduate. You're like, there he goes off to Hollywood. You know what I'm saying? Like my baby.
Up to Hollywood.
Yeah. The moment where that's the perfect.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, not university, not a college.
No.
You graduate.
Yeah, he's going to Hollywood,
to the
baby.
California.
But the moment for me was that I was like, oh my god, that was me. Was when she's confronted with the scientist, I forget his name, unfortunately, but where he's like, his foot gets injured, and he's telling her like, I can't make it. The only way you can save the world is if you cut off my head and take my head to the NCR or whatever. That moment was so fucking Fallout. And the fact that Lucy was like, oh, superb acting. Okie dokie.
Yeah.
Just,
Yeah,
oh
I
my
really,
God.
yeah, no, I agree with everything you said. You could tell that they cast her as like she's gonna be very innocent and she's naive to how the outside world is, and a lot of people in her vault are. And I was just waiting for her. Yeah, like I'm like I could see the patterns where like, oh man, she's gonna fucking badass at the end of this shit. That's one of my all time favorite moments with her in the show is where she gives the thing that he needs to always stay alive, essentially those vials, and the entire show she has a vocabulary of a child, very okie dokie and alrighty Rooney. Okay, let's do this kind of thing. Doesn't like to curse. She says, "What the fudge?"
Yeah.
And at the when she gives the ghoul the vial thing, she goes, you know, treat others like you want to be treated. Now you can go fuck yourself.
Oh,
Something like that.
God,
She says,
yeah.
"Go fuck you," or something like that.
Golden rule,
And walks
motherfucker.
away. Yeah, that's what it was. Golden rule, motherfucker. And I remember like that was what I was waiting for. This the wasteland changing the person like. And you would think it's her cutting off a finger and having a badass outfit and all that stuff. And that's all. Of course, you're gonna have shit like that. Changing the character inside. Where now this character's fuck this place, bro.
Yes.
Like my
Because-
morals on how I talk and all that. Just fuck it.
Because I think
Not my
throughout.
morals, but like the way she.
No,
is
but
presenting
yeah,
herself,
but you
yeah.
bring up a great point because it's not about.
Also, one more thing though.
Yeah.
Our boy Michael Erminson, I think I pronounced it right, playing the doctor guy.
Oh yeah,
boy
from
Zep from
fucking
Saw right there.
Zep,
Saw, man.
motherfucking Zep, dude, from
Let's
Saw.
go. That's our man. I love this guy.
He started it off.
Everyone does know. Yeah. Everyone doesn't know he played Zep in the first Saw movie.
Yeah.
I love that movie.
I don't know why we always fucking. Ever since that movie, I was like, I fuck with this actor heavy. But like you were saying, it's not about. This is why I say this show is surreal for me, it's honestly fucking amazing that we're I got the show made by fans of the game, because like you said, it's not about the aesthetic of, oh, she looks like a badass. It's her choices, just like the game. Like,
Yeah.
given the choice of, you have to cut off this head to save your father, are you gonna do it? You know what I'm saying? And throughout the game, throughout the show, I'm like, man, if that was a dialogue option, what would I have done? And her choices are affected by the wasteland, and it's, man, it's so compelling. It's really fucking good, bro. Really good stuff.
And I like her arc at the end, where her main motive of finding her father, which is another very Fallout story kind of arc that they play a lot in Fallout games, is like looking for family kind of thing, looking for love, because she's looking for her father. And I was like, oh, that kind of reminds me of I think it was Fallout 3.
Yep.
One of
Nailed
those.
it.
Yeah, you're looking for your, yeah.
And
And I
that,
remember being like, isn't that, yeah,
yeah, that's a
very
great,
reminiscent of
yeah, that's a great flip on the head, because the father ends up being the bad guy.
yeah.
And I love
So
that.
her journey is like, it's like the hero's journey, where she doesn't, like, she wants one thing, at the end she realizes, like,
Yeah.
like,
And
all this was for,
yeah, and I love that her dad even throws the line of like, "You traveled all this way for me." That stung so hard as a Fallout 3 fan, because they deliberately put that line in there for us who are like, hey dude, I did that, all right? I did that. You know what I'm saying? You're going to use that against me, piece of shit. But
you know what I've seen.
My dad was Liam Neeson.
Oh, that's right, he was named
Yeah, the goat. But yeah,
in the video, in Fallout 3, not in the show.
yeah, Fallout 3. I think his name is Kyle MacLachlan. Just really good as Lucy's father.
She was a phenomenal main character, and
Yeah.
definitely the right character arc to be like the one to follow for like going to the wasteland and all that. Like,
Yeah.
perfect. She nailed it.
Now let's get into Maximus.
Maximus.
Wow.
Or should we call him Titan Maximus?
Yeah. Dude, man, his story is so cool. In the beginning, and it's once again masterfully done. In the beginning,
Oh, but I'm sorry, it's Titan's Titan.
Titus, but no, it's Titus because he takes the armor from
Yeah.
Knight Titus.
Yeah, but they call him at the end when they think he killed the woman. I forgot her name.
Yeah, Moldiver, yeah.
Moldiver, whatever. And they think he killed her, and they start calling him Titus
Yeah.
Maximus.
Titus Maximus.
Titus Maximus. Titus Maximus. I was like, oh, let's go.
Once again,
Which
that
is,
arc is
like,
so good.
I have to say, I think there's other characters that play in this entire story, and we'll get to them, but he truly, I think anyone watching the show, I think a lot of people agree, I think his character story, or his character arc, is the most compelling character out of the entire show. I think what he's struggling with as a character, trust me, we're going to get to another character, but I think his is the most compelling to watch, I guess. No, that's not true. His is the most, he's the most struggling with what he's dealing with in the show. I would say.
Yeah.
I think Lucy knows, like, Lucy has a journey, obviously, and other characters that we'll get to has a journey too, right? His is the one that seems the most like, man, this guy is so troubled, and like, actually, let's get into what his thing is.
Yeah, Maximus was recruited by the Brotherhood of Steel, and just to let everybody know, I'm so happy that they made the Brotherhood of Steel exactly like they are in the video games. Like, I think people, when they see Fallout and have no context of Fallout, think the Brotherhood of Steel is like a good faction, quote unquote. Like, they're the cool ones because they got this cool armor, the T-60.
Oh man, those look
Yeah,
amazing.
even though they look amazing, and every time I get a Fallout game, I'm like, I want to be a Brotherhood of Steel. I don't care. They're not good guys. That's the coolest thing about them, is that they're.
Oh well, that's fantastic because they nailed it. Because yeah, when watching the show, I felt very much they look cool and all that stuff, but like they're like bullies essentially. And I was just like, but not even just the guys who were dicks, obviously. I don't mean just the recruits or anything. Like, actual the way they ran it and the way they like managed it felt very just fucked up.
Yeah, there's even a line that's thrown by Maximus Squire. I forget his name, but they're like, Lucy sees the Brotherhood of Steel coming. She's like, the Brotherhood of Steel, aren't they the good guys? It's a complicated organization. Man, that is the type of
Right.
fucking writing. The writing is so good. But yeah, anyway,
But Maximus.
Maximus gets recruited by the Brotherhood of Steel, and he desperately wants to be a knight. And I love how they start his character, where it's like, did he intentionally hurt a Brotherhood member? You know what I'm saying? His friend, in order to get his position in the Brotherhood. And so that you're constantly like, man, is he a piece of shit? Should I be rooting for this character? And they slowly give you more information, and you realize, man, this guy is just. It's honestly really amazing that the actor, for me personally, won me over even with all those questions. I was like, fuck it, I like this character, even if he did that shit. I'm like, it's the Wasteland, baby. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, he has a very underdog kind of
Yeah.
arc in this, where he's while being in the Brotherhood of Steel before he sets out to the Wasteland, or where the headquarters, I guess you say. Yeah, he gets picked on and he has no respect and no one treats him seriously. It's only until he gets out there where he feels like the guy, one of the Brotherhood of Steel members, dies, and he takes up his suit and he gets this power fantasy. Now he's in the suit and he has all the power that he wants and everything.
Yeah.
But he's still a coward. He's still scared. His character reminds me of John Boyega's character in the sequel trilogy.
Oh yeah, that's a good point. Where it's more
But
like
he
just wants to. He wants that power.
He wants to do the
wants-
right-
Yeah, exactly.
He still wants to do the right thing. Yeah, like he still wants to do the right thing, but he knows in the back of his mind that one, he's still a coward, and two, he's lying about a lot of stuff. Which is great
Yes.
because there's moments at the end where that's how you know he always wants to do the right thing, because he tells his squire that, yo, I'm still alive, and then the other guy died, whatever. And he tells Lucy that, no, I'm not, I was not, that's why I lost the armor, and that's why I'm not part of the Brotherhood of Steel or anything, right? So you know he has this internal conflict he has fighting inside him. I'm saying he really is one of the more compelling characters to watch in the show when he's just dealing with himself. Like,
'Cause-
scenes with just him alone were really fun to watch.
Yeah, and that scene when they finally get the head and they're celebrating, I'm like, man, I felt that. Yeah,
That was fantastic. Yeah, so good.
And I think
Great character arc at
yeah.
the end.
Man, I was just gonna say that. The arc, his arc at the end, where they're cheering him on, and he's finally, I don't want this, even though he wanted
Yeah.
it from the beginning. It's fucking it works. They did it, you know.
Both Lucy and Maximus just go through the same journey where they both want something. At the end, they get it, and they're like, "I don't want this anymore." You know?
But
like, her
credit-
father.
Credit to exactly to the writers, because the Wasteland changes them, and not the other way around. You know what I'm saying? Like the environment changed them, and that makes the Wasteland feel way more alive. So yeah, let's get into my dog.
Listen, I don't know what you're talking about. To get your dog, all right? Listen.
Cooper Howard.
I want to listen. Hey. No. I'm a huge Joe. Can tell you right now. I'm a huge.
Oh
fan.
yes, and this actually does need to be 100% put live in recording. John was a Walter Goggins fan since this motherfucker was relevant. I'm just gonna put that, like, all of a sudden, this man, if you put stock on him now, he's like going to the moon. But John had his money on Goggins before he got big. Yeah, I'll give you 100%.
Yeah, yeah, pretty much. Yeah, that's a fucking. I love him, his performance, and he's been in other TV shows. And the one that broke out for me, there, I was like, oh man, because I went to go back to see him on the TV shows. But obviously, the one that broke out for me was him in my favorite Quentin Tarantino movie, The Hateful Eight. And he is just such a fun, like, his charisma when he's playing a villain on screen is so much fun. And when I heard he was cast in the show, listen, I just heard he was cast in the show Fallout. I was like, cool, I'm watching this. I'm like, you don't gotta tell me twice. Have no idea that he's playing one of my favorite creature kind of species, I guess you could call it, in the Fallout show, ghouls. And also, he's the main villain of the show. And his name is The Ghoul. He's my favorite character, easily. Holy shit, when he's on screen, it is so, and again, like he always does, it's so captivating seeing him, like, just steal every scene. You can just tell he's having a blast. And also another thing too, he's playing a cowboy like he did in The Hateful Eight, which I love so much. So he's doing it again here, but they do it so well with his character, where he portrays like a cowboy for anyone who doesn't know, like, he was a TV show actor and then became like a sponsor for Vault Tech and Vault people, and then survived the Fallout shelter explosion thing for 200 years and became a ghoul. And the fact, can we just talk about how he is literally resurrected off from the ground in a casket and being introduced as the ghoul, almost like reviving as if he is like a zombie, which is
Yeah.
fantastic. I don't know, I don't
Oh
play the
my
Fallout
God.
games, but to know that they went that direction where it's like, how are we gonna introduce this character called the ghoul? Ah, he could just be a lone wanderer kind of thing. To have him like come out of the ground in a casket because someone was having him inside there was, it was so fucking cool.
Yeah, that is,
But
you don't see that ever in any Fallout game. I remember that scene came up and I was like, what is happening right now? Are they in a graveyard? There's a guy in a casket. I had no idea they were going to introduce the ghoul. What an entrance. What an entrance. Yeah, he is what happens if you play Fallout in the bad way, like the evil way. And it's so cool to see the beginning of this
he,
show where Cooper Howard is with his daughter and just everything about that intro. The fucking, hey, can you do the thumbs up thing? Because he got famous off the thumb. Um, it's so degrading, and instantly you're like, fuck, what the hell, dude? What, like,
which is a perfect callback to the
yes.
Vault Boy.
And then you realize in episode 3 that he was the guy who fucking essentially inspired the Vault Boy cartoon with the thumbs up. And even the explanation to his daughter of, if you put your thumb up and the bomb is bigger than your thumb, then you're screwed. But if it's not, you run for the hills. And then his daughter being like, your thumb or my thumb? Oh my God, bro.
Yeah.
That intro was so fucking good.
He's the more important B plot of the more important B plot of the story. Where I know we start off with him and he's the villain, but Lucy being like the main character, the A plot. But we go back to him a lot because we get to see from what happened before the Wasteland. So yeah, there's a lot to his character. It's definitely seeing. There you go. What's his name? Cooper.
Then Cooper Howard.
Cooper Howard is really, his story is really interesting because he doesn't trust his wife. He doesn't trust the corporation she's working with. He's now becoming more of a spokesperson for this Vault-Tec that he doesn't know that much about.
Oh yeah,
that doesn't trust.
Yeah, that was fascinating because you get a lot of those stories of washed up 1940s actors who are like trying to find a gig because the times are changing.
But that's why I said, in a way, I'm trying to be like, it's not that compelling. Like, anytime he's on screen as the ghoul is incredible, but it's definitely, I don't like using the word one note. That's not the right thing. But it's just a simple goal with him, I think. He's trying to survive. He needs the head. He makes some money, and he realizes the head can get him to who's running this whole thing. And
I think that's the
it's very simple for him. That's why when I say Maximus is more interesting to see what's going on with him as a character, where the ghoul is very simple, which I'm all for that. I love the idea of him just being like, just a fucking one of the best bounty hunters out there, and he's gonna get his answers. It's really fun to see too at the very end and be like, what he really is looking for his family, because that's what we saw from the entire show. So I was like, oh, fantastic. He's a very fucked up dude and has a very fucked up past, but at least we know, like, we're also in the same boat as him, being like, where is his family?
Yeah, because I think the cool thing about his character and how they used him in the show is that the ghoul is, we never understand the ghoul's actual.
You get what I mean, though, when I say.
Oh no, yeah, that's what I was. That's what I was trying to get at, is that in the show the ghoul isn't the ghoul. His motivation, we have no idea what he's going after. It just seems as though he's, first I want the head, but now I just want files. But then you get the context of the pre-war stuff with him and Vault-Tec, and then the ending where you realize, oh, his actual goal throughout the entire show was to figure out a question that he's had for 200 years about where his wife or where his family is. I love everything about the pre-war stuff. They fucking those are I think for me the most interesting things about the show, with Vault-Tec. And oh my God, like that scene where it's like a fucking secret organization at Vault-Tec. And I don't know if you've ever played New Vegas, but one of the characters is sitting at that table is Mr. House. And if you've never played New Vegas, Mr. House is the dude running Vegas. And when I saw that, I was like, "Oh my god!" Like that organization, John, is pretty much Bioshock, Andrew Ryan, and that whole conglomerate
Yeah,
of
yeah.
people. That is that secret organization. Like they run everything in Fallout. Like
Is that the Rob Tech?
Robco, Vaultec,
I had a
Repcon.
feeling when watching that scene, feeling very much like, oh, I bet these are because all the names aren't just like generic, like names. They felt very much like I felt like it must have been an Easter egg kind of thing.
Yeah, like that was fucking massive. And then you
Which
get
is great. Go ahead.
the and then you get the ultimate, I think the most interesting thing of Fallout that they're showing to the audience who are newcomers who don't understand. But you knew this because you understand the context of it a little. There's 100 vaults. All experimentations given to these corporations to do what they want with them after the war, after the bombs drop. Because for them, it's a gamble. For them, it's who has the best idea for starting the next civilization. And who better to run these things than corporations? You know what I'm saying? Like, and their reasoning for it is because war never changes. Like, they dropped that line in there, and I completely forgot about that line. And it's so naturally put into that to the script that when that scene came up, I was like, "Oh my god, bro! These motherfuckers understand Fallout. Like, understand it."
I have a strong feeling that I got that notion with one of my favorite shots in the show was the very last shot. No, not the very last shot. The second to last shot was when the ghoul and Lucy are walking away, and it pans up to see a Hollywood sign sponsored by Nuka Cola. That's fantastic. Like I was like, wow, that's a great shot too. Yeah,
Yeah.
Vaultec, man, that whole Vaultec story plot of Cooper and his wife and what are they doing? And they're like, not if we drop the bombs ourselves. I was like, oh my god, like it's so easy to watch the show from the beginning because I don't listen. I knew about vaults and experimentations and how they happen. I don't know anything about Vaultec though. I didn't know. I thought maybe it's just the government did it and just were like, I don't know, leave us alone kind of thing, or no one ever came to save. I just didn't know what the deal was with. Why these?
Here's the context for just so that you're aware. In the games, the bombs drop because of China and the U.S. and like actual countries dropping bombs on each
Yeah,
other. But in the
yeah.
show, it's implied that they started the bombs or they dropped the bombs themselves because she drops that line. But it still works because they essentially fast forwarded the bombs dropping. Like they didn't intentionally make the bombs, but they helped them drop the bombs. If that makes sense.
Oh yeah, I figured when she says that line, it's very much like we're gonna. It's not like we are doing it. We as human race are gonna bomb ourselves,
Yeah.
kind of thing. And her father has the means to do it because he blew up he
Shady
blew the
Sands.
town where Shady Sands where they ran off to, where the mother found out that they're part of Voltec, this very evil company, and leaves to that place. Goes get his children, comes back and nukes the town, which I was like, God damn.
Yeah.
So they have the means to do it. Um, which that was a crazy plot thingy. But yeah,
It,
that whole Voltec thing, story thing. Wow, really interesting stuff.
See, that's
So
cool
much fun to
because
watch.
as for someone who I love hearing that from people who haven't played the games because that is essentially the reason the hook that got me into
Yeah,
it.
because I don't know, it's so easy to fall into the propaganda of Vault Boy and Pit Boys and everything. Everyone's happy underground. Look at all the stuff and everything. And then you get to the very end
Exactly.
and be like, oh God, it's
Ex-
America.
the real fucking the dirty shit, you know what I'm saying? The things that they want to hide behind Vault Boy.
No one misses in the show.
No one misses. There's my favorite absolutely. I know I
Even the
keep saying
cockroaches.
even
Even
the
the
yeah, even the rad
yeah.
roaches. Amazing.
Dog meat. Like no one misses.
I love how they
Oh,
introduced dog meat as at first it's like just a guy being like dog meat,
oh
as
yeah,
if selling dog
yeah.
meat, and then you get
I
the
saw
ghoul
that. Yeah.
actually call him dog meat. It's so cool. Um,
He's not one of the chapters that they talk about a lot, but also Lucy's brother in the vault discovering
Yeah, honestly, yeah, we should
the
discuss
story.
this.
He would be like he truly is, I would say, the fourth story chapter character that we're
Yes.
following too. Forgot his name, but
Norm.
he yeah, I would put him in the same storytelling of the Vault Tech and Cooper B plot kind of thing, because you're also finding out what is the point of Vault 31, 32, and 33.
Yeah, watching the show and seeing interconnected vaults, I don't understand how we haven't got that yet. That was so cool. I'm like, oh my god, there's another vault. There's three of them. Oh, yeah.
Oh, they don't have that in the games.
No, that was like the first time. Yeah,
Cool.
no vaults ever connected with another vault.
It makes so much sense when they're talking the way they do, because it sounds like the most corporate thing ever. Be like, what if we build our own vault and we'll just breed with ourselves in this from a corporation and have a bunch of our like
A bunch of
our
management.
that's why they talk like the way they do. They're always having meetings and they're always like, alrighty Rooney, like and okie dokie. Like they talk like they're in HR.
Yeah.
So it's already in your face. They just like, we're fucking Vault-Tec, all right.
God, Norm's story was really cool too, because you're exactly like that scene where he finally gets into Vault 31 and you see that Vault-Tec's entire idea of saving the apocalypse is to put their best people in. That is the most corporate
and
shit.
let the people let the people up there kill themselves.
Yeah, and eventually they'll go up there and reclaim it. Like that is so fucking disgusting and corporate that I'm like, of course they would do that. But yeah, I just want to say.
Okay.
What were you gonna say?
You said earlier. You said this off mic, but this is a really good line that I'm not hearing that many people talk about it. And you brought it up in the trailer because it showed up in the trailer, and I was like, that is a really good line to encapsulate like everyone in the show. It's the Maximus says it to Lucy where she says, how did this happen? Because she's looking at the crater where the nuke goes off. And Maximus says, same thing as always, or something like, everyone's trying to save the world, but everyone can't agree on how. Or something like that. I'm paraphrasing.
Yes.
But that was a really good line, because it really shows that, yeah, the Brotherhood is trying to find their way to save the world. Vault-Tec is trying to find their way to save the world. Moldover is trying to find her way. Everyone's, these giant factions keep getting in the way of, be like, oh, I know what this is how it's going to be,
And
so,
this is why I'm getting goosebumps. I'm getting literal goosebumps hearing you say that. It's like, man, it just brings so much joy to me, because that's Fallout, man. That's Fallout. It was perfectly going to segue into the thing I was about to say, was that the theme of this show is nailed in that one line. And I remember hearing it in the trailer and telling you, like, holy shit, they got it. They got it in one fucking line. And then the creme de la creme of this show, the fucking icing on the cake, bro, the cherry on top. Lucy's father, his whole intention is, let's get rid of the factions. If we don't have factions, we can rule the wasteland. And you even hear the ghoul say in an episode, he's like, let me guess, another faction. There's been billions of factions trying to save the world, just prop up and trying to figure out that they feel like they can do it. You know what I'm saying? And eventually they get blown up too. And one of the most brilliant shots in the show is the 8th episode, where the reveal is explained, and Lucy's father is going in a monologue about these people are just going to continue killing each other. And then they play I Don't Want to See Tomorrow as the Brotherhood is fighting the NCR. And it's the same song that they use when the Raiders are fighting the Vault Dwellers in episode 1, where it's just nonsensical violence. And it's supposed to be funny. Oh, all these people are killing each other, They bring that song back in the last episode where these two factions are fighting, and it just feels like this shit's never going to end. This shit's never going to end. They're going to continue fighting each other. Join me. And together we can rule the wasteland as father and son. You know what I'm saying? I just remember feeling like they got it. Like that was the theme, and they nailed it.
That's fantastic. So good. That's because I got that message too.
Yeah.
Talking about quotes too. I also like this other quote. It's not that big. It's not that like crazy. But I was like, that was really cool because the scene where Maximus tells his squire, I guess his new one, the guy who got his other Brotherhood member that was originally gonna go. He tells him that he met a girl out in the wasteland and he's going back to her vault and he's all happy and everything, and we can be there and be like safe or something like that. And even the squire like tells him like, "There's nowhere to go out there. There's nowhere. There's nowhere." Something like that. He tells him. I keep sorry, I'm forgetting these quotes, but he's essentially telling him like, "There's nowhere to go out there." And I remember hearing that, and that scene was cool to me because I remember thinking like, it's so true. Like the wasteland and shit. These vaults are just experiments. There really is no place to be like, and we can make a home kind of thing. So they did such a good job of, but also cutting between Lucy and her father, revealing their vault tech and everything. So, and then the Brotherhood is gonna go over there to stop them and everything, right? No one's good here. Like this is all shit. Everyone's bad. This is terrible, man. There is no
Didn't I
place
tell
to
you?
go.
Before the show came out, I literally said to John, I was like, the one thing I really hope that they nail is that the wasteland isn't fucking fun. It should never feel like it's fun, and it's not Borderlands. So, man, I'm so happy you're saying that because exactly
Yeah.
every corner you take, you run into raiders, you run into the Brotherhood, you run into the NCR, you run into fiends who fucking eat people. You run into like shady fucking.
That's a good point. Let's talk about the Wasteland. That's another character. It's the Wasteland. They have to show us that kind of thing, and I think I don't play the Fallout games, but man, I think they nailed it. What do you think?
Philly is, if we don't have a fucking video game of me going to Philly physically, I don't want to. I'm out for Fallout fan as a Fallout fan. Philly is awesome, bro. They just nailed that megaton look from Fallout 3, where like they have just like these fucking cars and everything put together like a makeshift town. And that scene in episode 2 with the ghoul shooting people and the bullet, it tracks with the camera as the bullet flies through and fucking pierces someone's fucking chest. That is the exact shot in the Fallout games. I don't know if you've ever played
that.
Yeah, I don't know if you
VATS.
Yeah, yeah. You know how in VATS when you like lock into somebody and
And they do it in slow motion. I was thinking that when I was watching. I was like, was that a reference to the game?
Yeah,
you shoot and it follows the bullet, and the character just fucking goes like,
yep,
like ragdoll and stuff. And I know there's a perk where if you do it, they fucking explode.
Yeah.
Like that. So I'm like thinking, like, is this a reference to that? Because
yes,
really
bro.
that.
It's the exact shot, even the sound effect that they use, where it's like exactly that VATS clip or whatever.
The Wasteland, yeah, they play so much with the idea of also it's a shitty place to be in. You get attacked by, like you said, like raiders and everything, right? But I also like how they also show that there's a lot of just them walking, like just walking to one destination to another one, like you do in the Fallout games. And there's other situations where they just meet a market and be like, "Yo, what do you want?" You know what I mean? Like you'll have very slow kind of moment. It's not like it's like the Mad Max world, I guess you could say, where it's just like, dude, you're gonna die. Fucking like,
yeah,
5 steps to another person.
Yeah,
Wasteland still
there's still
like
structure
good
to
enough
it.
Bound.
Yeah,
Exactly. There you go. There's a perfect example. I thought when watching the show, it was just gonna be like, dude, like one town after another, everyone's just gonna kill each other like Mad Max. No, there are obviously places like that in the Wasteland that can be like that, but there are also other places like just if you want to buy stuff or blah blah blah.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, okay, great.
Credit to
that, I think, right?
Yeah, and you absolutely like credit to Ma June. I think that's her name is the actress who plays the old lady, who sees the vault dweller for the first time.
Oh man,
she nailed the entire that scene where she's, you know what we really think of vault dwellers up here, or you know what we really think of the vaults? Fuck the vaults, like that fucking yeah. Just throwing up middle fingers.
She threw up the middle fingers. I was like, that's fantastic.
Yeah,
she nailed it. Yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah, she was just such a great character that I feel like no one's talking about because the fucking
actual vault dweller. I thought you dipshits were all dead.
She brings this like fucking like her dismissal and like fucking vitriolic hatred of the vaults and the vault dwellers, because you know what we think of you guys? You're just rich, spoiled people from the past who live in sardines. You know what I'm saying? Like that sold the wasteland. Like she is a product of the wasteland, and that's the first character Lucy actually meets. You know what I'm saying? So it's so awesome. Her character is amazing. and brings so much life to Philly as a place.
That's the other thing too that they do so well is like I keep going back to it, but like I'm thinking there's a I'm when I'm watching the show, I'm thinking there's a or anything you're watching, I'm always thinking there's always a good spot to be in. Maybe there's maybe I don't know where I can't think of other examples on other TV shows or media, but you always like to think this is a fine spot. And I guess in the show you would think it's the vaults, but there's a scene where Lucy's cousin in the vaults, so he's like a big like goofy doofus kind of guy character, doesn't want to go with Lucy's brother to the other vaults to investigate, and he tells him, "You're a coward, you know that," and he says, "Yeah,
We all
we
are.
all are. That's why we're in a vault." And it makes me realize the vaults are not a good place either. I know I keep going back to it, but it's something where I'm just like, oh yeah, you like to think that the rich, like rich people, this is their option out of it.
Yeah.
That's not. It wasn't good either for them too. You know what I mean? Obviously, I know the wasteland's really fucked up, and being in a vault's like nice and cozy, but it's shitty on both ends. And I was like, oh man, the show. I guess that's what really. I keep bringing it up maybe because that's what really I didn't know that from the vault from an outsider of the games where I'm like, oh, the Pit Boy, Vault Tech, all this Vault thing is they're not good guys. It's not like base. We're good.
Yeah.
Everything's good here. Oh no, they're everything's shitty. Everything's shitty. I was like, oh
Everything,
wow.
yeah. And that's the beauty of
I
it.
guess they nailed it. Can we talk
Yes.
about the music?
Oh my god.
Because
Man.
oh my god, I thought it was fantastic. Yeah.
Yeah.
Fucking the music choices, and obviously I know some of them are definitely from the video games, but like you said earlier, they pick the songs perfectly to what is on what you're about, like what we're watching, and they're fantastic.
Yeah, it's like brand new songs. I've never heard I Don't Want to See Tomorrow from a Fallout game. And it's just so naturally this show's theme song, just like The Wanderer is Fallout 4 and I Don't Want to Set the World on Fire is Fallout
Oh my
3.
god.
Yeah, and so we get all those like classic songs that we know from like the Fallout series into this. And I remember feeling, man, I really hope that they nail the music because, and I thought for a second it'll probably be like dramatic music, and then some scenes where the Pit Boy is like using the music from the show as secondary music. I don't know what the term is, but
Yeah, I think you know what you mean.
yeah. And I'm so happy that they actually chose to put these songs in the game in the show as like I said, not only just randomly putting songs in different sections of the show, but actually using it as a thread throughout the show. Fantastic.
There
The
was one
music,
scene. There
yeah.
was yeah. Sorry. There was one scene where I guess I don't. Maybe I don't play Fallout. I don't know that much about it, but I was like, huh. I wonder why she's in Vault 4 and she lifts up the flag of the new California Republic and it plays the Fallout 4 theme or
Okay,
all three.
I'm
It's the
gonna
dun,
yeah.
dun, dun. And I was like, hey, that's the actual theme from the. That's the only thing I could think of when they use like a not a new score from the games
So
in the
here's
show.
the context of that. That's the Fallout theme song.
That's the theme, right? It's not
That's
just
the
Fallout 4. Right?
theme song of Fallout. So think about you watching a Superman show and them finally using the Superman theme song, right? I'm going throughout
Mhm.
this. I thought that the intro of the show was going to be the Fallout theme song, just the way The Last of Us uses their theme song in the beginning, and you're just like filled with nostalgia. And watching all the episodes up until that episode, I was like, man, where the hell is the Fallout theme song, man? This kind of sucks. You know what I'm saying? What the hell? Like, it's the one thing I really. When they showed the NCR flag, the what is it? The new California
New
Republic.
California
Yeah,
Republic.
yeah, the new California Republic. That was the most Fallout moment.
I don't
Because
get it. Is that so?
'cause-
That's something big in on the video games.
the new California Republic is
They kind of skim over a little bit. You could tell that there was like a big thing in the because they had like a classroom thingy,
yeah,
but they don't. I'm guessing it must be something big in the games.
yeah.
This is what
So
happened before.
yeah, so the NCR is they're a faction that is as conflicting as the Brotherhood. You know what I'm saying? They're not entirely good, but they're not evil either. And I remember before the show was coming out, so many people were like, "Where's the NCR? We haven't seen nothing about the NCR." Everyone throw your hands up in the air and fucking start yelling because it's not a faithful adaptation. When they show the NCR logo, the flag and then they played the theme song, I was like, fuck all of you pieces of shit who are denying this fucking show. And I just gotta address it because people are complaining about it, but I don't want to give them ammo because I'm just like, what the fuck, bro? Like, we got a really good show. The internet is up in arms because there's some stuff in the canon that they think is being retconned.
Is it the town?
Yes.
They show yeah, I've heard about this.
Yeah.
That,
So Shady, so Shady Sands.
But they confirmed, right? Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, because the whole scene with the chalkboard, where they say,
yeah, that's the one what I heard, something about this chalkboard and something about the timeline not adding up, but I didn't go into it because again, I didn't go into it, so I was like, yeah. What is that?
So there's a chalkboard and it says that Shady Sands blew up in 2277, and a lot of people are like, Shady Sands is the NCR capital. So if you blow up Shady Sands, there is no NCR. You see what I'm saying? And so a lot of people were like, what the fuck? Like, the NCR in New Vegas, the game, run California. You run into them all the time. And the Brotherhood, you literally, I swear to God, John, when you're playing the game, you run into maybe 6 Brotherhood members walking into the wasteland lost because they're rare in that game. And they're just randomly, we got to get out of here because this is enemy territory. It's all NCR. So they're like, why is this show set in California and we're not seeing anything from the NCR? This is bullshit. Like, you guys are retconning, and it all and just to like really just cap this because I don't want to talk about it anymore because I just think people are fucking ridiculous, and it's a section of the Fallout fan base that I hate. But just to, I forgot what I was gonna say.
That the California, what did you think about that? But I remember hearing about that controversy, but like in the I guess who I was watching basically said in the subtext, people are losing something crucial. There was something obvious, and everyone's losing their mind for no reason. Apparently, there's not people think this, but apparently, no, actually, it was this, and you guys are whatever. That community is wrong. Essentially, is what I don't know what the answer was, but they were like, people are overreacting. It's not what you think.
Yeah,
and not to give any. Go ahead.
Yeah, but I remember what I was gonna say. So, the real reason people are up in arms about it is because they feel New Vegas was made by Obsidian, right?
There it is.
Not Bethesda.
I remember. You're right.
So, in their point of view, they think, they think that
I remember now. This is so stupid. Oh,
isn't this the stupidest thing you've ever heard?
I remember because this was this was yesterday, but in the morning I heard about this. I was like, that's the dumbest thing. It's funny. I didn't want to give the woke people ammo because the main character is a woman. And that audience, I was like, what the hell is a woman? You could play as a woman since Fallout 1. Like, you idiots. What are you talking about? So I didn't want to give them ammo. And of course, when I hear the show come out and I hear this controversy, I was like, man, you guys are really trying to find this. Go ahead, explain, because this was so dumb when I heard it.
So their real grievance, it's not the NCR. The NCR is just the ammo. You know what I'm saying? Their real hatred towards this is because they feel that since Obsidian made a better Fallout game, Bethesda wants to erase that game because it's not their Fallout. So the NCR, since they never created the NCR, they feel like Bethesda's doing everything in their power to erase that faction. And so instead,
sorry, go ahead.
And so that's why we're getting a massive group like the Brotherhood of Steel show up in California, because in the actual games, like the Brotherhood's base is in the east side where Fallout 3 is, and the NCR is in the west.
Okay, if that's the case for these people talking about how Bethesda wants to erase Obsidian, and Obsidian helped create the first 2 games, and like you said, in the first game too is where Sandy is where the top down. I think it was the first Fallout game. You go, that's in that game. Is
Shady Sands.
The NCR. Yeah, Shady Sands and the NCR. Again, helped by Obsidian. And if this theory of fucking Bethesda be like, hey, we're trying to get rid of it. I'm sorry, how does this show end, Joe? What was the last shot in the show?
This is my thing.
So what the fuck are they like?
I don't.
For anyone who doesn't know, the very last shot of the show, and while I was watching it, and I haven't even played those games. I'm watching it, and the father runs away and he goes to, I guess, where he's like his leaders, and it pans up, and I see a city, and I was looking at the city, and I was like, wait a minute, is that New Vegas? Because even I was like, what the hell? Like, I didn't know they could do this, and I'm not gonna give them that much ammo, though, that community. But for a while, I did think maybe Bethesda knows those games are great, but let's not touch it. Let's not play with it. That's a city, and it's theirs. It's awesome, and maybe they'll want to do their own thing. It ends with New Vegas. Like,
Yeah.
they're setting it up for their next thing because they know what I confirmed now that people must love New Vegas.
Yeah.
And I'm like, so shut up. These
What
people
else do
talking
you
about,
what
like-
else do you want? That's what I'm saying. Like,
And there was a guy dressed as the Vegas gas mask guy.
yeah, the
He was picking
NCR
up,
Ranger.
Is that what they are?
Yeah,
They look
yeah.
awesome.
That armor is stupid rare to find. But what's it called? Yeah, New Vegas. I was watching the show, and the scene with the father walking. The show's about to end, and I'm like in tears. And when it pans up, and not only New Vegas, but that stretch of land from where he's standing, all the way up to that New Vegas entrance, is the most dangerous fucking place you could possibly be standing. You see how he like walks up and you see the Deathclaw skull?
Yeah.
That
Cool.
entire place,
Cool.
yeah, cool reference.
Fencer, yeah, right.
That entire place is guarded by Deathclaws.
Eh?
Yeah,
Oh, so that's why there was a death call there.
yeah, and I'm so mad I didn't piece it together. I was like,
Damn. That place is covered in death claws. Oh my
Yeah.
god, how are you
And
supposed to get there?
yeah, it's honestly man, nightmare for
Right?
me.
There's no death claws are fucking essentially a giant monster with the name like death claw. You could probably picture what it looks like.
Yeah. And so they pan up and they show New Vegas. It's 5 a.m. for me, 5:30 in the morning. I think I woke my neighbors up, honestly. Honestly, I think I genuinely woke my neighbors up. I was like, I literally let out like a fucking visceral by myself, bro. Just like I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe they were going there. And that's
That's
season
why
2.
I was confused. Yeah, that's why I was confused because I was like, "Whoa, are they That's New Vegas?" And I'm like, "That's a video game. That's the thing from the video game." I know, obviously, it follows the video game, but I'm saying like I would have definitely thought, let's play it safe, and that's why they're doing California. Let's do a different world. No, we're going to New Vegas. And I was like, "Whoa!" And I know that's one thing I know from the community is like the whole debate between Fallout 3 and Fallout New Vegas. One's Bethesda Studios and one's Obsidian, and the latter more. The needle tends to go more towards New Vegas. People think that was way more. So them playing in that world, going to New Vegas is definitely a sign to be like, yo, let's give these people. That's why that community go fuck themselves. I mean, that fucking whatever.
Yeah, and
Not the New Vegas community. I'm saying the people who think Bethesda's
yeah, this
like this
inner
twisted
war.
entity to be like super ego. I know Todd Howard can have somewhat of an ego, but they're not that fucking stupid. Come on,
Yeah,
guys.
come on, folks. Like, really, you're really picking at straws here.
Yeah.
But
One more thing I want to talk about. Did you have something else?
no, I just wanted to say that yes, I do feel like for a show set in California, for it not to have a prominent presence of the NCR, even though we got a little bit of the NCR at the end where they're fighting the Brotherhood, in the actual video games, they're a fucking coalition. It's a lot of them. They run all of California, all of it.
But this show takes place after Fallout
Yeah.
4.
No, it takes, yeah, I think so.
It takes place in the basically at the end of the timeline.
Yes,
What I-
exactly.
What I heard. So, of course. there's
Yeah,
gonna-
so theoretically, I do feel like the Brotherhood could have come in and taken over that small section that we saw in the show, but the NCR's presence is still out there. It's a lot of California, folks. Like, it's not fucking just, and I think that's
What if
what
they're
we're
a bigger
gonna.
faction now? What if they're like the New American Republic or something? I don't know.
Yeah,
It's way bigger than just California now. They could just be moved somewhere else. I don't know.
yeah, but
But,
my thing is, we're definitely gonna see more of them come season 2, and that was the whole. I honestly think that was the whole plan from the beginning.
Oh, yeah. I got that feeling too as a viewer. Because, like I just said, what was the whole point of that? The Fallout theme and the NCR. And like, I was like, what's the. Yeah, it's like I said, that was the whole point of what I said about that scene. Oh, yeah, I figured that too. Because I was like, there's a scene where she picks up a flag and it holds a Fallout theme and everything. And I remember being like, what was the whole point of that? So, I mean, like, for the show, it definitely feels like there's, hey, this is important, and look, I brought it up here. Where I'm like, hey, what was the point of that? So I think they are setting it up for something to be
Yeah, how
something.
much more love can you get for the NCR? They played the theme song of the. I don't understand. Like, man, these people are so lost.
Let's talk
But
about the violence and the humor of the show.
nailed it, nailed it, nailed it, nailed it. The humor is, um, I just think like dark comedy, like they nailed that dark comedy. Um,
That's fantastic. That's good to hear because
yeah, and it never goes out of. It's never slapstick or like too heavy on the comedy, which I love. Like it doesn't detract from the wasteland or anything like that. You know what I'm saying? I really can't think of any moment in the show where I'm like, it didn't really like. That was
you know
really
what?
funny. You know?
If we want to start with the humor one, I told you when the trailers first came out that you were like, oh, really? I think you were more like, you were surprised that it was more dramatic. Oh, no, that you were surprised there was a lot of comedic stuff in it than more dramatic, right? In the trailer.
Yes, I
Oh,
was. Yeah, I was worried that the because a lot of people were saying it's funny, and it's very funny, like comedic,
yeah, and you were worried that if
and I was worried
that's an
that
element
was.
of it, but it's more serious, right?
Yeah, there's definitely an element. There's definitely a comedic element, but it's not.
Yeah,
It shouldn't take over the seriousness of the wasteland, and that
and go ahead.
and yeah, it doesn't do that. Thankfully, like the
Yeah, that's what I
wasteland
was
is
gonna say
treated
when we
seriously.
that I when we were talking about the trailer, I was like, you said that, and I said, isn't Fallout funny? I remember it being dark humor. Like I remember thinking, like, yeah, there's actually a lot of like dark humor, funny stuff that happens in Fallout. It's almost like a parody. Yeah, it's almost like a parody kind of thing. And you're like, yeah, there's elements of that, but it's more serious drama kind of thing. And I didn't know that. I was like, oh, I thought the trailer captured it perfectly.
But it's the type of I was scared that it was gonna be like slapstick comedy of.
And listen, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, here's a
Where
perfect example of what of them nailing the comedy for me was when Maximus and his squire find the body of the headless scientist, and they're like,
oh yeah,
"Is that him?" And he holds the paper up to the head. He's like, "Yeah, that's him." Like that's fucking hilarious. I'm like,
yeah.
Jesus Christ, that's perfect. That's exactly it. Black comedy.
Yeah, that one's good too. I then yeah, finding out from the show and watching the show, and yeah, it's definitely more serious and more dramatic, and the dark humor is like another. It's just another element in the show, which I was like, oh, that's fantastic because that's what you told me, and you're a Fallout fan, so then seeing the show, like, yep, they got it right, I guess, because they balanced it really well. I had a feeling though that when they went to Vault 4 was definitely one of the more comedic parts of the show where they have the Cyclops guy who's played by I forgot the actor's name, but he's played by he plays the
Yeah,
voice of Jerry Smith in Rick and Morty. He plays the
yeah,
dad, and that actor is fucking hilarious.
yeah.
And there was a lot of funny kind of elements in there too, where she sees him with the Cyclops eye, and Maximus doesn't allude to it at all. And she's like, "Did you see anything weird?" He's like, "Oh, not really. I don't know what she means. Like, he
Yeah.
has the one eye. It's like Santa.
Yeah,
Like it
more.
doesn't.
He says more to the left.
Yeah, more tell it. Yeah, it's that. Those are the funny moments. I'm like, okay, that's good. But then I was worried about that section because they're slowing down this plot. They're in this vault. They need to go get this head. I was like, okay, all funny, whatever. But then they start doing the cult thing and talk about Moldover and how they praise her and all that other stuff. I was like, oh, okay, we're bringing the plot into the vault now. That was really good. And then I also loved how they're like, your punishment is death by banishment to the to the servants world. And he's like trying to cut it and all that stuff. I was like,
Yeah.
that was good enough. I was like, that's a good enough
Yes.
balance. She's like, okay, we're also gonna punish you by giving you all these supplies and everything that can only last you 2 weeks. Only 2 weeks. Sorry, that's all we have. You know what I mean? It works. It works, and I think it works really well because of the actor they got for those.
Oh
Because
yeah.
that guy is like
Yeah.
so funny.
That's
I
an
think that was a
example.
good balance.
That's an example of that's what I mean of like it's not just it can be funny, but the context needs to matter. Like it's funny because those vault dwellers are so outside of like reality. It makes sense for their characters to do that.
And also that they're the mutants. They're the experiments of the vaults that took over essentially now, and they're like showing the footage of the monster attacking the humans and being like, "Yeah, that was my great ancestor." I'm sorry you had to see that kind of stuff because that's the smart thing about it. Yes, it's obviously very funny and they're making these references, right? But you as a viewer are realizing that this vault's fucked up too. Like this is
Yeah.
ridiculous and this is gross. And it's also the first time Lucy's learning about. She asks him, "What was your vault's experiment?" What are you talking about? And you're learning also. Oh, wait a minute. There's this
Yeah, there's
thing
an
that
experiment going on in Vault
yeah,
33.
yeah. and they bring him back to Moldover too, which I thought was really smart. So I was like, okay, that's great because it's not just we're gonna take a break and have all this funny humor. Like, no, it works really well.
Yeah, the
Also,
story still
Maximus has a great
continues.
moment where he takes the fusion coil back to them, which is
Yeah. Thank you.
yeah. How about the violence? You thought it was too violent?
Just to point out real quick, you can cut this if you want, but I do feel like it's important to say any other person who didn't give a fuck about Fallout would have let Maximus take that fusion coil. A true fan of the video game realized in the script, or someone who was writing the script, oh, if he took the fusion coil, then they only have like 2 weeks. And I remember as he was walking out that I'm like, he should probably give that shit back because they're not gonna survive for. And then it's actually in the fucking show. You understand what I mean by that?
Like the RPG choices in the games.
No. That I'm saying that if this was made by someone who didn't give a fuck about Fallout, they would have just had Maximus walk away with the T60.
Oh yeah, yeah. Just bad writing in general.
Yeah,
Us
just
being like, don't they need that? What's going on?
yeah. But Fallout fans know what the fuck a fusion coil actually does. You get what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
to someone who's just writing this just to make it fun and doesn't give a fuck about the actual.
Oh yeah, I know exactly what you mean. It's so easy for someone to write, and then they steal fuse. You know, he takes the fuse girl, but we have a cool scene where he beats them all up, and then they leave, and that's how we can write in that he has his armor. But anyone would
Exactly.
be watching it being like, wait, but they also need that kind of stuff. And Fallout fans would be like, that's very important. But the writers would be like, we need him in his armor. So
Exactly.
forget about it. Like it's bad writing.
Yeah.
And I think it works for the RPG choices that you make in Fallout, where you can write it where it's like a choice. You feel like an experienced player feels like that's one of their choices moments in Fallout, and it works for Maximus' character for writing to be like he chooses to do the right thing.
Yes, because that scene, I could, like I said, I could totally see someone just having Maximus leave with Lucy in his T60, and he has the T60 in some other, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's a cool armor. We want to keep him in the armor, right?
Mhm.
It's so awesome that they not only gave us that scene, but like you said, an RPG question. Hey, you took this. Do you want to give it back or should you? But I could save you. You know what I'm saying? Like I saved you with this armor and all that stuff. Like what a great scene of like people who understand Fallout. Yeah, that's all I had. That was just really cool. I just
No,
remember
no,
seeing it and being like, "Wow,
I'm gonna keep
that."
that in because that just shows how good writing how good well the writing is. I think
Yeah,
anyone, like you said, anyone else would have written it like, now we have his armor, we're gonna have a blast. Like, wait a minute, that doesn't bad. I was gonna bring up, what do you think about the violence of the show? I've heard some people say this is like a little too violent, but I don't know. I guess I haven't played Fallout that much to know if it's violent, but I remember seeing a lot of violence in Fallout.
oh no,
You even have
they're
that perk that makes you explode. So I'm like,
yeah, the violence. If you're not down with the violence, then you don't. This isn't the show for you. Like it's just not the show for you.
but did you ever think it was like a little too much, or you think they balanced it well enough? Like,
I think they balanced it perfectly.
I thought so too. I thought it was just fine. I don't think there's ever a moment where I was like, "Oh my god!" Like, no, it was just like,
I think there was definitely one moment where I was like, okay, guys. Was the squire taking off his shoe
"Oh
and
yeah, that
it's
was
like
pretty
a
gross."
mangled fucking.
Yeah.
But I think the reason they need to show that is because the second he takes the serum or whatever it is, his foot gets healed up. And there are some things in this show that never happened in the or has never been a thing in Fallout that I want to get into real quick. Two things. One is that there's never been a serum or a vial that keeps you from turning into a feral, like a feral ghoul. You see how the ghoul constantly takes these vials to keep himself turning into a zombie?
Yeah.
That's never been in the actual games. That's like a new addition that they put into the
How
show.
are ghouls alive in the show? Aren't they talking in the show in the video games? Aren't they like talking and stuff?
Yeah, in the games, it's just ghouls are people who are heavily radiated because they were like actually hit with the blast or they took too much radiation, so now they turn into ghouls.
Yeah.
Um, but they never explained how they went from ghoul to feral ghouls, which are like the fucking zombies that run after you. So I guess in the games, it's just implied that they turn into feral ghouls when they have too much radiation. You know what I'm saying? So I
Okay.
really like the idea that there's like a vial that keeps them from turning. You know what I'm saying? That's really cool.
I think they told it really well too.
Yeah. And the other thing was, man, you just talked about it. What were we talking about before this?
Um, RPG, fusion coils.
The Squire, something about the Squire.
His foot being all mad.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. And the second thing was that whatever that thing he took to fix his foot back,
Mhm.
there's no such thing as that in the game. But in my from my what I think that was is there's a drug called Jet in the game that
Is that what the guy takes in the beginning of the show?
which guy?
There's a guy in the beginning of the show who attacks them in their vault. He
Yes.
goes like,
Yeah.
and it's like a red thing.
Yeah.
Something red, and he go like,
Yeah. I think that's Jet, which is this drug that that makes them feel you. So I think that was their like he thinks that his foot is healed, but in reality it's
Oh,
still
yeah.
mangled, but
Yeah.
he's so high that there's also a scene where they're like, now you're going to turn into a ghoul because you took that. So I'm like, what the fuck? Just a very weird thing in the show that I was like, I don't understand that point.
From what I heard is that the beginning of the show, there's that scene where there's like some crazy guy and he takes in the thingy, the inhaler kind of thing. That's from the show. That's from the games. And like you said, I think it makes you really high. I think the ghoul thing is something new. I think that's something new because they introduced that once you have radiation, like like a lot of it turns you into a ghoul. And his foot was fucked up, and he took that serum thingy from that cockfucker guy. And I think in that scene it's supposed to show that it entirely changed his DNA into becoming. He'll eventually become a ghoul into a ghoul. Let's see,
Pharaoh.
zombie Pharaoh, right? Zombie version. Essentially, that Squire guy is going to become like the ghoul, essentially.
Yeah.
Character. I think they were trying to show because that's what I got from the scene. The ghoul keeps taking it and he needs it and all this other stuff, right? And then I see the Squire take that thing and heals his foot, but then he gets an arrow through his neck and it heals immediately. And they're like, I think you're a ghoul, right? And since I'm new to the world, I'm like, oh, it tells us it's something. It's what his ghoul is going through. That the more he takes it, the more he makes him stop going from being like that zombie kind of thing.
Yeah.
And that Squire's fucked for sure because he's not a bounty hunter who can get that anytime.
Yeah.
I'm guessing you're right. I think you're right. I think it is something brand new for the show.
Yeah, which I like all these new ideas. I'm not against. They're really cool and didn't take me away from the show. I mean, I think I said everything I wanted to say. Like
Yeah,
it's just a very fucking great show, and I can't wait for season 2. Like where they set it up, especially with Lucy's character, where Lucy's character literally went from a trank gun to the handgun at the end of the series. And in a playthrough of Fallout, that's 30 minutes of Fallout. You know what I'm saying? She literally only just picked up the handgun. There's so much more story to be told with her character.
That's so clever. I get what you're saying. Yeah, like it's so easy for us to be like 8 hours of this, bro. This is just 30 minutes in the video game. Like, welcome to the wasteland. Like,
Yeah. And so the idea of like her character growing, the wasteland changes her even more season after season is going to be so much fun to watch, man. And especially the ghoul character, that ending line of like, let's go meet your makers. Like, fuck, bro. Let's go fucking do that, bro.
Walter Goggins, my fucking god.
Nailed it. Oh my God.
Travel with him to the gates. Thanks for listening, everybody. That'll do it for this episode of the Raid 2000 podcast. Catch you next time.
Take it easy, folks.